Hello, and welcome to my StoryTime channel. In today's video, I will break down the plot of The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. Please subscribe to my channel and give this video a like before I start the main video. When the movie opens, we see many people working in a field collecting fruits in baskets. One man stopped working and turned to look in another way, but he abruptly fell. His son and other workers came up to him. After a while, this man's funeral happened. The boy was sitting on the couch taking apart a piece of electrical equipment. It turned out to be a music player after he put it together. The boy's name was William, and his father asked him if he had fixed the machine. The boy said yes, and he gave his father the musical instrument. Then Dad went outside and turned on the radio. They said that clouds were coming from the west. The man hoped for rain and looked up at the sky. In their village, there was a very bad drought. William went to the well and got some water, then went to wash. When he went back to his room, he saw that his parents had bought him new clothes as a gift. William was happy and told his parents he was grateful. William got new clothes the next day, said goodbye to his parents, and went to school. At school, they stood in a row, and the director told them what to do. He said the school isn't very wealthy, but that everything depends on the students. You have to work hard and spend a lot of time. But all of a sudden, it started to rain hard, so the director told everyone to go to their classes. As soon as they walked into the classroom, they saw their boss, the first day of algebra class. His name was Chicago. William went up to his teacher, Chicago, after the lesson and told her that his father hadn't paid for school yet, so he could be kicked out of class. William was shocked to hear this, and he went home. William did his homework and got ready for school until late at night. He asked his mother to turn on the light, but she told him there wasn't much kerosene left. The next day, the teacher told everyone how they did on the test. William passed with 62 points, but he thought that wasn't good enough and that he could do better. They went to the dump after school. At the dump, he found something that really interested him, was a battery. William went to the house on foot. At the place where the villagers got together, they talked about asking a question. The question was about a good offer from another village to buy trees from them, but the problem was that these trees kept the village and fields from drying out when there was a drought. Only the fact that they offered to buy trees was important. Some people agreed to wait until tomorrow and signed their names. They had to sell trees because they had to buy food for their family. William's dad tried to talk them out of it, because if they cut down the trees, there would be a drought and the whole crop would die. But no one paid attention. William thought of a way to catch small animals with a rope and a trap. He heard loud sounds all of a sudden, so he went to see what was going on. He saw many people cutting down trees. William was sad because there was nothing left they could do to stop the drought. The two of them went into a hut, where grown-up guys sat. They talked about girls and listened to the radio. The radio stopped working all of a sudden. It turned out that the batteries were dead. The guys asked William to get batteries from his house, and he said he would. As he ran home, he grabbed all of the batteries. He also went to his father and told him he had to pay for school tomorrow, but his father told him he couldn't. We have to wait a little while. William ran to the hut and turned on the radio, making everyone happy and thankful. As William was leaving the hut, he saw his sister kiss his teacher, Chicago. They went to the dump again the next day. A friend said he would get back at the teacher by breaking his bike. William agreed right away and walked toward the bike. When William started pedaling, he suddenly found a great way to do something. When the headlight starts to light up, it was a great discovery for William. At night, William heard what his parents were talking about. They had a big problem with money, and William's school didn't have enough money. The next day, the director called out a few names and asked the rest of the guys to come out. He told the boys who were still there that they had not paid for their schooling, and that the date would not be changed, so they wouldn't learn and wouldn't be able to get enough money. William and his father went to see a friend named Travel. My father told me to go on a trip so he could buy some trees to protect his village from drought and floods. But Travel said it wouldn't work because there was a big crisis in the world and their state wouldn't be able to help farmers. He said there will be a big, long-lasting famine soon. After a while, it stopped raining altogether, and a very bad drought started. The villagers went to check on the harvest, but everything died very quickly. The next day, William sneaked into class quietly so that the headmaster wouldn't see him. After his lessons, William went to Chicago and asked how the headlight on his bike works. why it starts to glow when you ride it? Chicago told him that he would need a magnet to make such a machine. He also told William to go to the library and look for books on the subject. William didn't have a pass, so Chicago took him out of the library. There, the librarian gave him some book suggestions, and William started reading them. When the leader of the group got to the village, everyone cheered and welcomed him with joy. But he made decisions that hurt people and didn't care about them, neither the drought nor the floods bothered him. The leader of the village was the first to stand up and start to praise the party leader and then started to say that he didn't care about ordinary people and hunger. He was taken off the stage quickly and hit hard by the chief's son. William saw this, and he ran to help him. Even William's dad got past the guards and ran to his son. When the guards started firing into the air, chaos broke out. Everyone was going in different ways. The party leader and his closest friends got into cars and left quickly. The chief was badly hurt, so he was taken to one of the village's huts. He could die at the hospital, so it was impossible to take him there. The next day, William's father John and a few other people went to harvest. It was very hot, so they didn't get much from their crops. It was dried corn, which wouldn't last for even 2 months. John went to the middle of the town. People were standing around and listening to the news on the radio. It said that the government doesn't think there's a problem with hunger and that everything is fine right now. The seller raised the price of grain by 5 times, which made everyone in the town angry. John and some other locals decided to go to a protest against the government because they didn't see how bad things were. He said he would return the next day. William and the librarian were putting an electricity book in the right place. At the same time, he was trying to make a machine out of things he found. William went to school and sat down at his desk, hoping that Chicago would teach him a lesson, but the headmaster walked into the classroom and said that he would teach a lesson today. When he saw William, he told him to get up. He told him to leave and never come back to school. William said that his dad would pay after a while, but the director didn't care about what he said and told him to leave. William looked at the dried-up fields. Due to the high heat and lack of trees, screams were heard all of a sudden. William's mother said that grain-carrying government trucks were on their way. That means they weren't forgotten. William's mom gave him money and told him to go buy as much grain as he could. Everyone ran to the trucks, but William rode his bike to get there faster. When William's sister got home, she fought with her mother about her boyfriend. Suddenly, a man walked in and said he was really hungry. He ran away with a bucket of food. When William's mom went outside, she saw that some other guys were stealing their food. She cried because they are going to die of hunger now. At this time, there was a commotion in the village where people were waiting for grain. People started breaking into the grain barn when they realized there wasn't enough food for everyone. William ran and bought some grain. William was very worried that someone would steal his grain, so he held him close. At this point, the father and other men who had been at the rally came home. His wife beat him up and told him that all of their food had been taken. At this time, nobody who bought grain wanted to go outside because there was a big group of angry, hungry men. But the soldiers told them they couldn't stay here, so they had to go. William decided to sneak out of the house through the back door, get on his bike, and leave without being seen. He did it at home in the evening. William's father counted their money, weighed the grain, and told him that he would have to eat once a day. Everyone was in a bad mood. John looked for food for the next few days. At this point, William's trap had never caught anyone. At night, William went to his sister and told her to ask her boyfriend, Chicago, for a headlight with a mechanism so that William could make a water tree and save the village from drought. The next morning, William was bringing firewood back to his house when he heard loud screams. It turned out that his sister had left the village with his teacher. William went into the house very upset, and then he saw a headlight with the part he needed. William got a book on electricity from the library and a piece of machinery from his teacher. He and his friends then made a small windmill. He checked to see if he could build a big one, and after a lot of hard work, he did. He opened the door to let the wind into the room, and now the mechanism began to work. This machine needs to be made very big. William took his crop to his father, who was out in the field looking for food, but this didn't shock the father, and he didn't believe him. When his son made him angry, he pushed him to the ground. He said that William would work with him in the field and look for food with him the next day. William was in a lot of pain. William and his friend were digging in the ground. They sat down to take a break, and William thought for a while before going to find his other friends. It looks like everyone else will head north away from here. William was able to talk them out of it and ask them to help him put his idea into action, so that they could build a big windmill. He needed to use his dad's bike. His dad told him not to take it. The guys who were with William went to their dad and told him that William needed a bike. But John told them to leave. William said that he could use his device to help the village get water, but his father didn't listen to him and drove everyone away. As time went on, the drought got worse, the graveyard got hills, which meant that a lot of people had died. At this point, William got all the parts for the windmill and went to look for his dog. She also died of hunger, it turned out. William's mom told John that the only way he could save himself was to give William a bike so he could make a device. William's father rode up on a bike while William was burying his dog. William was able to convince his father that his idea would work, so he got the bike. He and his father got to work. First, they cut the frame of the bike. Then, they cut down a few trees, the structure they needed, and put it up. William made the thing that was needed, then took it outside to where everyone was working on his idea. They lifted a big screw and put it in place. Everyone was waiting for a miracle when William twisted the wires in the right way and the screw started to turn. William said that the battery should get a little charge, so the villagers made a path to water. The motor started up all of a sudden, and everyone looked up as the water started to flow. Everyone was shocked, and all the locals started laughing and hugging William. They let water into the field to plant seeds. After a while, small plants started to grow. They saved the village. So, that's it. Let me know what you think of the story in the comments. I'd also appreciate it if you subscribed and liked it.